For today's video, I'm going to be doing the 2018 NBA redraft. For those of you that have been subscribed to me for a while, you know the history with me and redrafts. I love doing redrafts. Looking back really fascinates me to look back at these drafts and see just how different the actual draft is from how the redraft ends up. And unfortunately, this is probably going to be my last redraft for a while. If you guys know the history of my channel, way back when I started my channel about 9 months ago, I did the redrafts from the 2010 class all the way up to 2015, and in this offseason, I've done the 2016 and 2017 ones, and now the 2018 one. But from then on, 2019 and on, it's going to be tough to already evaluate a redraft since a lot of those guys haven't been in the league long enough yet to evaluate their overall career. So this will be the last redraft for a while, but it's definitely going to be a fun video, and this is a really interesting draft class. Just like I said in the title, this might go down, in my opinion, as one of the best draft classes of all time. So let's get straight into the redraft. With the first overall pick, the Phoenix Suns select Luka Doncic. We know what happened in this draft where Luka Doncic went 3rd overall to the Atlanta Hawks, but was then traded for Trae Young to go to the Mavericks, and obviously this ended up the best pick of the draft. Right now, Luka is definitely looking like a generational talent, has a case to already be a top 5 player in the NBA right now in 2021, and probably a few years down the line will probably be the best player in the NBA. His amazing shot creation ability and his 3-level scoring ability, his ability to take those step back jumpers and be one of the best playmakers in the league really makes him one of the best offensive players in the league, and he will end up a generational talent. For those of you guys that don't watch my redrafts regularly, the way I do these is I imagine it's happening in today's NBA. So Luka would be going on that stacked Sun team already with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. It wouldn't be that great of a fit necessarily, but obviously he's the best player to take here. With the 2nd overall pick, the Kings are selecting Trae Young. Another no-brainer here. Trae went 5th in the actual draft. He was traded from the Mavericks to the Hawks, and originally this looked like a landslide of a trade, but Trae has proved us wrong and proved that this is actually a pretty good trade. It turned out pretty well for the Atlanta Hawks because they got Trae Young and also got a pick that ended up being turned into Cam Reddish for Luka, and obviously they'd be better off with Luka, but still a decent trade here for the Hawks, getting their franchise player in Trae, who's proved that he's one of the best offensive players in the league right now. Again, his amazing scoring ability, one of the best playmakers in the league, and last year actually led the league in box creation, which is how many open shots you create for your teammates per game, and he's proved that with his overall offensive ability, he can really turn it up in the playoffs just like he did last year. What separates Luka from him is things like efficiency and also defense. Trae is still a horrible defender, which doesn't matter that much because he can mostly be hidden on defense with the Hawks team, and it is a no-brainer that he's going here second to the Sacramento Kings and being paired up alongside De'Aaron Fox, which would be a very interesting duo as well. Looking back at this pick, in the real draft, the Kings selected Marvin Bagley, who right now is just proving that he's not as big of a bust as we might have thought, but the Kings had Luka and Trae Young on the board here and completely blew this pick. With the 3rd overall pick, the Hawks are going to be selecting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who went 11th overall in the actual draft, so a pretty big steal here. And I think Shai's really underrated right now, and this might come across as a hot take, but I actually think he's already a top 25 player in the game right now. I might even make an entire video on just how good I really think Shai is and how good he really truly is. And unfortunately in this redraft for the Hawks, they're not getting Trae Young, but they're still getting a guy that could be a franchise player for them in their future. Shai is very underrated. His 3-level scoring ability is truly elite. His combination of creating his own shot, having volume scoring and efficiency is amazing, and his jump shot is getting a lot more smoother and overall better, and his playmaking is very underrated too. He creates a lot of space out there on the floor, has great court vision, and overall last year was top 20 in box creation as well, and he's a good defender too. Very underrated on that end of the floor. Is a pretty good perimeter and interior defender and can provide a lot of good things on that end of the floor too. I think Shai's really underrated and absolutely deserves to go top 3 in this redraft. With the 4th overall pick, the Grizzlies are selecting DeAndre Ayton, who as we know went 1st overall in this draft in real life, but he's absolutely not a bust, despite going lower than he was actually in the actual draft. Right now in the NBA, he's easily a top 50 player and provides a lot of great things as a traditional big man. He'd fit well in the Grizzlies team too, being a pick and roll duo alongside Ja Morant, and the Grizzlies kind of need that starting center type of guy right now. As their best center right now would be Steven Adams, but overall DeAndre Ayton has a great game, and I actually made an entire video too about him and his playoff performance this past season. Be sure to check that one out as well. But overall, he's a fantastic defender, a very good rim protector and overall interior defender, and on the offensive end of the floor can play in the post, can dominate down there, does a great job rebounding the ball, does a great job cleaning up the glass offensively and scoring down low, and is a very good screener and overall playmaker too. Last year ranked top 5 in the league in the regular season and playoffs in screen assists per game and screen assist points per game. So he has a very good overall game as a traditional big man and still deserves to go in the top 4 in this redraft. With the 5th overall pick, the Mavericks are selecting Michael Porter Jr. He would be the best overall player to select here for this team. He went 14th overall in the actual draft. He could have gone as high as the top 5 like he is in the redraft here, but teams had doubts selecting him because of how he was injured and how he was going to miss most of his first season. But MPJ, especially this past season, proved that he's one of the best pure scorers and will be one of the best pure scorers in the game moving forward in his career. Last year putting up 19 points per game on an insane 54% from the field, 44.5% from 3, and an overall 66% true shooting, which is absolutely insane efficiency for a guy with his playstyle who shoots a lot of threes too and takes a lot of tough shots, sometimes off the dribble and taking tough pull-up threes. And showing that scoring wise, he looks a lot like Kevin Durant and might have his type of potential out there when it comes to scoring, which is absolutely insane. The only reason he's not going higher is because he doesn't have really a passing part of his game right now and isn't good defensively. But if he can improve in these aspects of his game, he's going to be one of the best players in the league moving forward in his career. With the 6th pick, the Magic are selecting Collin Sexton. With the state that the Magic are in as a franchise right now, they'd obviously be looking to select the best overall player here, and that's definitely Sexton. Last year, putting up 24 points per game, which is going pretty unnoticed for Collin Sexton. He's also doing this on slightly above average efficiency, which is very impressive, and he's also improving as a playmaker as well, and an overall passer as well on the offensive end of the floor. Is a good shooter, last year shooting almost 38% from 3 on high volume as well, and is becoming better defensively too. A good on-ball defender on the perimeter, is putting a lot of effort in defensively and a lot of effort into improving defensively, and is a pretty good off-ball defender too and has good instincts on that of the floor. So overall, he's a pretty underrated player, and in my opinion, definitely the best player to select here for the Magic. With the 7th overall pick, the Bulls are selecting Mikal Bridges. In the actual draft, he went 10th overall, a bit of a steal here, and this is also the need of the team needs to factor in here, as the Bulls are looking to be a contending team right now, but they really need some defense, and that's what Mikal would really provide for them. In my opinion, Bridges is a top 20 defender in the NBA right now. He can defend 1 through 4, is a very, very good on-ball defender, uses his length to his advantage, and is overall a fantastic defender, and he would provide a lot of that good defense for the Bulls, guard the other team's best player every night, and offensively he plays his role and is a very efficient scorer as well. Last year putting up about 14 points per game, but did this on 54% from the field and about 43% from 3, which is very impressive as well. With the 8th pick, the Cavs are selecting Jaren Jackson Jr. He went 4th overall in the real draft, and despite being lower in the actual draft, he still has pretty much lived up to expectations. He's just had struggles with injuries, but when he's healthy is a very good interior scorer, has really done well shooting the 3 and better than people have expected for his career, shooting 37.5% from 3 on about 4.5 attempts per game. I think he could improve the technique on his jump shot a little bit, but still doing well shooting the basketball. He's pretty good in the pick and roll too offensively, plays his role really well offensively, and defensively, this is where his main value is. He's a very, very good defender overall, can almost defend pretty much 1 through 5 decently effectively, and is a good on-ball defender, especially on the perimeter and in the post. And this would fit the Cavs team need too, because they kind of need a power forward, and he's really good defensively, and the Cavs are a really bad defensive team, so this is a great fit and a great pick. With the 9th pick, the Knicks are selecting Gary Trent Jr., who's one of the biggest steals of this draft, going 37th overall. And over the past few years, I really think that he's turning into one of the better and most underrated young players in the league, and already has all-star caliber potential on the Raptors. He's improved every year of his career so far, and offensively can score at a high level, create his own shot off the dribble, and also space the floor and knock down the 3 very consistently. And defensively, he's a very good on-ball defender and can hold his own against some of the best in the league. He's also a stretchable defender and can guard pretty much 1 through 4, and would fit well into the Knicks' already very good and dominant defensive system. And overall, GTJ can provide a lot of good things on both ends of the floor, and I think deserves to go in the top 10 of this redraft for sure. With the 10th pick, the Sixers are selecting Devontae Graham. Another big steal here. He went 34th overall last season. He's not great defensively and is a smaller type of guard, but I think he's underrated by a lot of the community and kind of overlooked. He can penetrate towards the rim and score near there, be a pretty good playmaker, overall a pretty good volume scorer, and provides a lot of value shooting the ball. Last year shooting almost 38% from 3 on about 8 attempts per game, and the Sixers need some of that shooting too to surround Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, so I think he'd fit well on this team too, and is the best overall pick for this team at this point in the redraft. With the 11th pick, the Hornets are selecting Robert Williams, who in the actual draft went 27th overall, another steal here, and this is a very good team fit for the Hornets, a young, good, defensive, solid center, and they definitely need a center right now, and Robert Williams is definitely a very good defensive center, a overall great rim protector and pick and roll defender, and is extremely efficient, offensively shooting 72% from the field, only resulting in 8 points per game, and obviously he's just playing his role offensively, but still extremely efficient, which is very important. He's a very good rebounder, screener, and overall I think he's one of the most underrated players in the game right now. He's actually 3rd in the league among centers and player efficiency rating, which is kind of a broken stat, but he's only behind Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, and even though this isn't a very accurate stat, this has to at least tell you something. And for me, overall watching him play, he's very underrated, and as a Raptors fan especially, watching him play in 2020 and absolutely kill our team on the defensive end of the floor, it was very annoying to watch, but I gotta give him credit. With the 12th and 13th pick, the Clippers are selecting Jalen Brunson first, who went 33rd overall in the actual draft, and with the 13th pick, they're selecting Mitchell Robinson, who went 36th overall in the actual draft. 2 other steals here, starting with Jalen Brunson, who I think is very underrated as well. A lot of underrated players, in my opinion, in this draft. Jalen Brunson is a guy who can be probably a 6th man of the year candidate next year, honestly. Last year, putting up about 13 points per game, shooting 52% from the field and over 40% from 3. He knows when to pull up and shoot at the right time and has a very good touch when it comes to shooting, knows when to attack at the right time towards the rim and is very good around there too, is a good perimeter defender and improving the playmaking aspect of his game as well. He could be the backup point guard for this Clippers team and be a very effective bench option for them. And when it comes to Mitchell Robinson, he's underrated as well in my opinion. Pretty much the last 5 guys I've discussed are underrated by the community right now. Robinson can be a good rim protector, a great overall shot blocker, a decent pick and roll defender, a lob threat and screener on the offensive end of the floor, and overall your traditional center who's had trouble staying healthy, but when he is healthy can play that center position very effectively. So the Clippers would be getting 2 very good bench options here in Brunson and Robinson in this redraft. And to cap off this video, with the 14th pick, the Nuggets are selecting Miles Bridges. The king of the highlight reel, Miles Bridges, an incredible dunker, but when we talk about his game on the floor, he is a very, very good lob threat, which can provide a lot of value for his team. He's good off ball, can cut to the basket very effectively, and overall score double digits points per game on good efficiency for sure. And on the defensive end of the floor, he can provide good things there too, and I think he's the best overall player to select here and would provide some value for the Nuggets for sure, improving their depth and their defense. So I think this is definitely the best pick for them here. So there you have it. That's the end of today's video. This is the last redraft I'm going to do for a while. I hope you guys enjoyed. Comment down below your thoughts on today's redraft and what you would change about my list. I'm always open to hearing some different opinions, so make sure you guys comment down below. And if you made it to the end of the video, comment RIP redrafts, as I'm not going to be doing another one like I said for a while, but this was definitely a fun series, and maybe a few years down the road, if I'm still doing YouTube, I might bring back these redrafts as well, do the 2019-2020 redrafts and all those other draft classes that I might be able to do at that time. So thank you all for watching this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all next video.